What a finish to stage 8 today. I'm delighted to say I'm joined alongside Matt Stevens and Adam Blythe for all the reaction. Jasper Philipsen, then, a man that we were talking about pre-race, he was the outright favourite today and he lived up to expectations, but only just.
Only just. No lead-out really got it right there, apart from Lotto, and they absolutely nailed it. Viviani coming second with a questionable straight-line sprint towards the finish, but Philipsen managed to just get past, and he had to freelance, he had to use the other sprinters within that finish there to get himself to the front. He did so perfectly, because there was a lot of sprinters there who didn't manage to sprint once again as well. So, yeah, you've got to take your hat off to this man. Alpecin, yeah, not the best lead-out we've seen from him in a long, long time, but when you've got a sprinter like Philipsen there, position is part of that game. It's not just all about relying on that lead-out, so he did a lot of that on his own today. So brilliant, brilliant to see, but by heck, that were a messy sprint coming into that final.
I was just saying, we were watching it here in the studio, and I needed another 2 eyeballs to kind of focus on the width of the road. Yeah, I know, we've got 6 now, but it was Coquard who ultimately dropped off Philipsen, wasn't it? But Elie Viviani, he got a fair play to Lotto. They were the team that was the most dialed in the final, but there was, I think it's fair to say, not exactly a ragged sprint from Viviani, but he did move. There was a diagonal sprint with a little kick at the end, wasn't it? Nearly shut the door on Philipsen. His manoeuvre didn't seem to affect the result, but, I mean, second place for Viviani. He'll take that. That's if it stands. I mean, we'll see. I
think you can always put this sprint rule into, OK, does this stand, does it not stand? I think when we look at it in terms of the rule book, you should hold your line. Definitely. But did he impede anyone? No. So was it the right thing to do or not? The good thing is that it's not good for him, but Philipsen was able to get past. If he wasn't able to get past, 100%.
He's out, yeah.
He's out. Surely there will be questions about that line, though.
I think there will, because he basically started, we'll get an aerial shot in a minute, but he basically started on the right-hand side of the road across the dotted line and just gently moved across. But it was essentially, you'd see his front wheel, it was a diagonal sprint.
You can see it crosses the white line in the middle of the road, white line straight across, carries on going over. And, yeah, as I said, I think if he'd impeded... Sorry, you can't see that. I'm just looking at another screen once again. We get a bit carried away with the 16,000 telescreen.
Here we go.
But, yeah, you can see pretty much a clear bike, well, a wheel in it, and then it was very close first, second, third, fourth. I think the man that will complain is probably Vernon, just because of those points as well for the green jersey. He's right up there, went for points today.
Came third,
so I think he might complain about the points for Viviani. We'll see.
It was all about timing, and they did do well, and it is a team effort, despite the fact that Jasper crossed the line first.
It is a team effort. Sprints, lead-outs are all about the team positioning. If you don't have a lead-out train there, it's not just about the final 5K, the last 200 metres. It's about from start to finish. From as soon as you start, go across that start line until the finish line, you need to save as much energy as possible, so the lead-out starts very early. If we talk through this finish, a couple of riders to keep your eye on. Ben Turner here, Viviani here, so well positioned at the minute. Sorry, that's Kyoto, that's Ben Turner on the left-hand side. Eventual winner here, I think, is Philipsen at the minute. Ethan Vernon, I'm just trying to work out where he is. I think he's back here, so waiting. But interestingly for me, Pedersen, we heard that this morning that he just wanted to start his sprint as early as possible to get room to sprint. He didn't say as early as possible, but wanted room. At this point here, on the front, just coming over the right-hand side, is Plancart. So he's starting very, very early on to get the lead out for who he thinks Philipsen is behind him. When we get into this sunlight here, we can highlight a few more riders. At this point, Brian Coquard's already started his sprint. Elie Viviani is waiting patiently just here. And Mads Pedersen, he's pushing wind, but ultimately he's slowing down as well. So riders are just going to come round him. On the right-hand side here, you've got Ethan Vernon, who eventually finished third. But it was Coquard that basically led Vernon out to light. As they go on the right-hand side, you've still got Elie Viviani in third wheel waiting. And at this point, Jasper De Bois just starts to look across. That's his job done. And then they both start their sprint. And as I said earlier, you got Pedersen stuck in the middle. Everyone started to overtake him, but they've overtaken him with 3 to 4 k's an hour extra. So jumping on the wheel of Pedersen, yes, he can do it, but it's too late. Vernon's got clear space on the right-hand side. And for Philipsen, he's got on the fast man's wheel, but which way does he go now? So as the sprint opens up and he starts to get on top of the gear, he does see room on the left, but Viviani sees a lot of room on the left and wants to close that down. Luckily, Plancart did move out the way as well, so there's a bit of impeding there going on. If we go back, it's not just the move that we see towards the front, but this is very, very good vision from Plancart. Plancart, the lead-out man for Philipsen here, you can see he's looking this way to see where he is, and you can tell both riders are coming this way, and he's travelling at speed. So if we just watch in slow motion, as Viviani comes across, Plancart moves out the way to give Philipsen room, which is great vision of his, but ultimately then the Cofidis rider on the left-hand side behind him, he does have to slam on the brakes, he does get impeded, we don't know where he might have finished if he didn't have to pull the brakes, so there might be a decision. And if you watch Pedersen, it's pretty much all the way to the line. We'll highlight Viviani in a minute. Pedersen's just in no man's land, doesn't know where to go, he eventually ends up over here somewhere, but just watch these two in the line that they're on. That's the straight line at the minute, so if we carry this on, Viviani does just keep moving to the left, and luckily for him, clever or not, he does just keep the door open that little bit for Philipsen to squeeze through. I think he did have to ease off ever so slightly, but luckily he got through, and Pedersen again in the middle, no man's land, Ethan Vernon on the right-hand side. It was a very chaotic sprint for everyone, and I think, you know, you take your hat off to everyone, but for me, in that sprint there, it's not all about power, it's not all about numbers, and there's one man that nailed it with his team today who we didn't really expect to be up there, was Viviani. You've got to take your hat off to him. He was incredible.
Even like 1,500 metres to go. I mean, before the actual sprint, I mean, Jasper de Boist is one of the most experienced lead-out riders in there, but they weren't the team. We've mentioned Viviani a lot because of that fourth place on day one, but no way did we expect them to actually hold together for so long and put Viviani in a great place. But again, we'll wait to see. I mean, we haven't had any information to how that result isn't going to stand, but there was a little bit of deviation there. But he sensed him on the inside and he opened up the door. I think they might have even brushed, but Viviani opened up the door again. Yeah. But by then, Philipsen was carrying too much speed. But again, a combination of great early lead out and then complete freestyling, just showing how versatile, and that almost a sprinter the level of Jasper Philipsen has also got a sixth sense. Yeah. Sometimes he'll lose his lead-out rider, which they did, but then he latched onto another wheel, the right wheel, not necessarily the fastest man there, but the man who had a lot of space. And it's just almost like he's got this sixth sense, isn't it?
He was lucky that Plancart moved. He was lucky that Plancart, his lead-out man, was looking over his shoulder and saw him coming, because if not, he'd have had to break, and Viviani would have triumphed, basically.
Well, experience plays dividends in situations like that, though, doesn't it?